trafficking has gotten a lot of attention with the Jeffrey Epstein documentary that just came out. Pornhub's hit the headlines a lot for different, there's a 15-year-old girl who was missing, who was identified in 58 videos. You've got an entire channel that was very popular on the site that got shut down because they were forcing girls into these sex acts. And so, and Pornhub is like the biggest porn site. Like that should be the Walmart of, if there should be a safe porn site, that should be it. So how linked really are the porn industry and trafficking? Like, is there a very clear connection there? Is it something that's a, kind of a horror story that, it's a small minority that we hear a lot about? How connected are those two things?
It's tough to say exactly how connected because a lot of this stuff happens underground.
Right.
And so it's tough to say exactly how connected they are. But I will say that it's safe to say that they are inseparably connected.
Right.
And I think it's important to define trafficking. According to the Trafficking Victims Protection Act that was passed in 2000, it is a commercial sex act induced by force, fraud, or coercion. So you used the word forced when you were talking about that specific site. You didn't mention the exact site, but I know which one you're talking about.
Right.
That was that has been convicted of.
Yeah, they actually went to
trafficking.
prison.
Yeah. And the owner, if I'm not mistaken, the owner of that company is still on the run. He's a fugitive.
Wow.
The FBI is looking for him. And I think he lives in New Zealand. So I think it's possible that he fled to New Zealand. But that's a good example of coercion. So oftentimes when people think about sex trafficking, they think about the movie Taken.
Yeah.
And there's some big organizations. One of them is like the Polaris Project, and they fight human trafficking. And one of the myths that they try to break is that sex trafficking is always a violent crime. And the reality is that most sex trafficking happens, the traffickers use psychological means to manipulate and trick and defraud victims. Right. And so this site that you're referring to is an example where these girls were coerced, forced, whatever the case may be in their particular situations, but then they sign an agreement with this company, and then this company, in this case, they were breaking the agreement in many cases. And then this internet, because of mainstream internet pornography today, the pornographic climate out there, these girls are re-victimized every time that someone views this content, and it's nearly impossible to get all of it taken down off the internet.
Right. Just like anything on the internet, it's once it's there, it's kind of there. I think it's good you mentioned that. And, I think the word force is applicable, but it is important to say, like, I think it's hard for people to grasp, like, well, it's not everybody's held at gunpoint and told to do A, B, and C. But I just watched a BBC interview with Mia Khalifa, who was she was a massive name, is always trending. And she spoke about it. She's become a very big advocate against the porn industry. And, she talks about that, the fact that there's videos out of her. Every single video that's out, she wishes she could take down, but because of contracts she didn't understand as a 20, I think, or maybe even younger. I think she was 20. She's 26 now. But the fact that she has all these videos she wants taken down that she can't because of all these contracts. She talks about, going into the studio, it felt like, she saw desks with, people's pictures of their families. She saw very chill. She thought it was going to be fine. And it was just a slow, gradual progression into doing these scenes. And she says, it's not that they would have forced me to do it, but I couldn't say no. And that's it's just a weird way to think about it, because there's so much psychological pressure, and they did, in her story, she talks about, they preyed on her insecurities. They preyed on her needing of acceptance at that time in her life, and forced her to do things that, especially because of her religious background, she told them, she said, you're going to get me killed doing some of this stuff.
the stares I get, I feel like people can see through my clothes, and it brings me deep shame. It makes me feel like I lost all right to my privacy, which I did, because I'm one Google search away.
Yeah. And those images you cannot expunge. No. You have no right, even though it is deeply personal to you, you have no right to remove them from anybody's view around the world.
Yeah.
It is very hard.
It is.
And I'm just thinking, this story is your story, but frankly, it's also the story of other porn actors and actresses.
I honestly started seeing that recently after the interview came out, and people started reaching out, and all of the emails go, my manager checks them. And when he gets stuff like that, he filters them and sends them to me. And reading the words of some of these girls who have been sex trafficked and forced into porn, and all of these stories of girls whose lives have been ruined by it, and by men who have taken advantage of them, and by contracts that they didn't even understand the jargon of, it makes me feel like, okay, maybe it was good that I started talking, and that I posted this interview, and that I'm speaking out now, because other people feel the same way. And even if they don't relate on as deep a level as, doing porn, they can relate on the level of being insecure and being pressured into doing something they didn't want to do.
You were wearing the Islamic headscarf, often known as hijab. And of course, then it developed into a sort of a sex scene. You must have known how provocative that was.
I verbatim told them, you guys are going to get me killed.
And they said?
They just laughed.
Why didn't you then say, I'm not doing it?
Intimidation. I was scared.
But
I knew that if I said no, it would, they're not going to force you to do it. At that point, that's rape. No one's going to force you to have sex. But I was still scared. I mean, have you ever felt not scared, but nervous to speak up and say something at a restaurant when your food's not right and the waiter comes by and says, how is everything? I was intimidated. I was nervous.
But for them, it was profiting off of her and getting exposure because of her. And she walked away with, not even financial gain. She walked away with literally nothing. So yeah, I think when you say the word force, I think it's good that you clarify. There's, you hear the stuff about, they get them addicted to drugs, or they get them to do this because of violence. But probably the vast majority, it's sketchy contracts and manipulation and playing on the emotions of the people involved. And so I think it's good you clarify that.